What is going on, everybody? My name is King and this is part 3 of Intro to Classes and Objects. Now, quick recap. Part 1 we covered the basics of making classes and objects. In part 2 we covered access modifiers and how to use getters and setters to access private variables. Now, if you need those references, I'll leave a link in the description below. In this one, we are going to cover constructors. Now, let's jump straight into it. What is a constructor? A constructor is a special method that allows us to initialize an object. It's used to create an object. Now, anytime the new keyword is used, a constructor is called upon. There's two different types of constructors, and that's going to be your default constructor, also known as a no args constructor. And what that means is it doesn't take any arguments. Now, the second type of constructor is going to be a parameterized constructor, and that just basically means that it will take arguments at the time of calling it, or it takes parameters when you build it. Now, a default constructor is going to look like this. So no arguments, just an empty constructor. Now let's jump into some of the special rules to a constructor. One of the rules is the name of the constructor has to match the name of the class. Also, a constructor is not going to have an explicit return type like you do with a regular method, such as like void or string or whatever data type you're returning. A constructor is not going to have that. Also, a constructor cannot be abstract, final, or synchronized. Now, like I said, this is what a default constructor looks like. So let's use this to create a parameterized constructor. Now, the parameters that you want to pass are going to be the value that you want to set at the time of creating that object. So what I like to do is when I build my constructors, my parameter names, I just match them up to the variable names that I am trying to set. Now, that's not a hard rule, and you don't have to do it that way, but that's my preference. So in this one, in vehicle, we are going to name our first parameter passengers, and the next one we'll name it top speed, because that's what we're setting. Whoops. And just to show that the names don't have to match and where it's pointing to on the acceleration, we'll shorten it to Excel. And then the last one is going to be color. Now we have to make sure that our parameters are pointing to the right variable, and you do that by setting the variables. So the first variable is going to be passengers. This dot passenger equals our parameter passengers, and then the second one, this dot top speed equals top speed. The next one is the one that's a little bit different, so we are setting the variable acceleration, and we are going to set our parameter XL to point to acceleration, and then this dot color equals color. So as you can see right here, this XL is referencing this parameter, and acceleration acceleration is referencing our variable acceleration. Now, if we come up here to our class of classes and objects in our main method, you can see we already have the same object that we had from the prior videos, Tesla Model 3, and in that object we are using the default constructor. Now, with a default constructor, in order to set the value of our variables, we have to go in here and we have to set them one by one. And because they are private variables, we have to use the setters method to set our values. Now, let's make another object, and we are going to use a parameterized constructor to create this object. So let's just call it car3 or car2 and equals to new vehicle. So because we are using the parameterized constructor, we have to now pass in the values of our variables at the time of creation, of object creation. So the first value is going to be int passengers, because that's how we built it. So our passenger value is going to be 7. The next one is going to be top speed, and let's just say our top speed is 155. And the next argument is going to be acceleration. So for acceleration, let's just say 2.3. And last one is going to be color, and let's just do a deep blue for color. And there you go. That's pretty much how you use a parameterized constructor. So hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions for me, leave it in the comments below. If you'd like me to cover anything else, please let me know by leaving that in the comment below. If this helped you out, hit that like button. Thank you very much for your time, and until the next video, I will see you. I am out.